In this video, I'll discuss IT as a service and its key features and benefits. A term that we hear a lot today, especially as it pertains to the cloud, is IT as a service or ITaaS. So what is it and why is the model attracting businesses? Well, in simple terms, IT as a service is the provisioning of managed IT services by either an internal group or external group. In ITaaS, companies get to choose their specific IT services, choosing what they need and paying for those needs accordingly. ITaaS has grown in popularity in part due to the cloud, where the model really shines, but it's not solely limited to the cloud. ITaaS services usually include choices from software, storage services, IT security, data services, technical support, and analytics. Because companies can pick and choose their level of services, it's become a viable solution to modern organizations that traditionally treated IT as an operational cost burden. Now, ITaaS represents an operating model that focuses on productivity and agility and more flexible IT spending. ITaaS offers powerful controls for companies that include provisioning, which is the process of delivering services to users and business units on an enterprise level. DevOps, which is the practice of software development using a model that pushes out software to an organization while striving to be more efficient in the development lifecycle. Creating a catalog of software and services that have clearly defined cost models. Access control, which manages the level of data and service access for users, groups, and business units. Workflow management, allowing the precise control and configuration of tasks performed inside organizations. And identity management, allowing organizations to manage users and devices and how they interact with an organization's IT. There are clear benefits to adopting an ITaaS model. Clear and consistent costs allow organizations to understand what they're spending and where. A reduced initial spend, meaning that in place of upfront infrastructure costs, organizations can redirect that capital expense to an operational model. Dedicated IT support, meaning that issues get resolved quickly and effectively. Scalability, allowing organizations to be nimble and scale on the fly. Ongoing monitoring by the service provider means security is in good hands. And the knowledge that the software and, in a sense, hardware resources you're using stay current and up to date. There are a few considerations that organizations need to ponder when assessing the ITaaS model. How will it refocus your business? Generally, it's a very effective model that takes the burden off worrying about IT and making it work and refocuses everyone on task-based productivity. How will it align your architecture with your business needs? Losing the dependency on owned infrastructure tends to bring clarity to knowing just what you need to get the work done. ITaaS often requires a realignment of internal processes, usually in a beneficial way. And in a pay-per-use model, you have to carefully consider what you're going to purchase because it's easy to buy what you don't need, and that leads to wasted spending. And ultimately, by reducing the IT burden, ITaaS tends to realign a business's priorities and focus on why they're in business in the first place, the customer. In this video, I'll discuss software as a service and its key features and benefits. When we discuss the cloud, software as a service, or SaaS, is always in the discussion because it's a big facet of cloud computing. In fact, it's one of the three legs of cloud computing, which are software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. SaaS is the provisioning of apps that are cloud-based. They reside on a cloud provider's server. Licenses to use the software are usually purchased on a subscription model, and you can purchase bandwidth both typically on a monthly basis per user, but there may be other options or discounts for longer term commitments. The software is provided on demand, meaning that when you need to access it, you run the software, and that's typically done through a web browser. SaaS offers massive catalogs of all the apps businesses need to operate, but the most common kinds of applications you can access from your cloud provider include Office applications like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and so on, productivity software development tools, database applications, business intelligence or BI software, and advanced analytics software. So the SaaS model is a complete solution that represents a full range of services covering all aspects of your IT. Application hosting, development tools and analytics software, operating systems, data center access that contains all your infrastructure, software, and data, and provides most of the heavy IT lifting by the service provider, security services to keep your data protected, and access to servers and data storage. The best way to think of SaaS is that everything is hosted and managed by your SaaS provider, including all infrastructure, OSs, middleware, apps, you name it. All you have to worry about is using the software, which is delivered to you by the provider. There are several key benefits to adopting the SaaS model. The cost associated with selecting the services and bandwidth you need means flexibility. The per user, per use model helps to control costs and better identify the cost of IT. SaaS enables a mobile workforce, integrating mobile access and apps into the IT model. It's highly scalable, meaning that companies using SaaS can grow or shrink their services as needed. Your users can access their apps and information from virtually anywhere. And when you're on an SaaS model, you can be assured that you're always using current and up-to-date software. When considering an SaaS adoption, here are the considerations for companies. First, you have to cede some of the control associated with owning internal IT to a third party, but this is typically not an argument against SaaS. You have to research your cloud provider and understand what kind of availability they offer. Typically, this will be in the 99.99999% range, but because the availability is so important, it's incumbent upon you to research your provider. Security is always a concern, and it helps to understand the security controls put in place by an SaaS provider. Typically, these are world-class and state-of-the-art, but your cloud provider will be able to provide you with detailed information on how your data is protected. And you have to accept the fact that your data is going to be stored remotely, and this is normally the case with larger companies, but in the cloud model, your data will live on your provider's servers. And it's worth pointing out that because the provider decides the kind of services and applications it offers, it may decide to change what it offers without your input. I don't see this as being a significant issue, but when moving your on-premise IT to a cloud provider, you should go in with both eyes open.